5 EastEnders spoilers next week for 5th, 8th May 2025. Cindy Beale exposes attacker Kathy Cotton and Lauren Branning goes into labour. 1. Cindy Beale returns to expose attacker Kathy Cotton. It's Lauren and Peter Beale's engagement party, but Lauren is worried when, at their last midwife checkup, potential complications are discussed. She is furious when a distracted Peter leaves to take a call, while Kathy moves the party to Harry's barn when there's a fault at the Albert. Gina enlists Mo Harris, Jean Slater and Nigel to help, but it's clear they are not up to the job. At the party, Lauren continues to worry and takes solace in the office after an ill-judged remark from Ian Beale. Kathy comes to the rescue and Lauren rejoins the celebrations, but her happiness is short-lived when Cindy arrives. The partygoers reel at Cindy's sudden return, and Peter tries to defuse the situation, but Lauren leaves Peter with an ultimatum. It's her or Cindy. The Beales and Knights shun Cindy, but she retaliates by revealing all about Kathy. Kathy seeks solace with secret lover Harvey Monroe after her guilt is exposed, but they're almost caught by Jean. Harvey invites Kathy on holiday, but Jean finds the brochure and assumes the holiday is for the Slaters. But will Kathy be facing consequences over her attack on Cindy? 2. Lauren Branning gives birth to baby Beale. After the showdown, Cindy goes to the flat to face Lauren, only to find Lauren in labour. Cindy takes matters into her own hands to get Lauren to hospital when the ambulance is delayed. Meanwhile, Chelsea Fox informs Peter, at Harry's barn, everyone waits for news of Lauren and the baby. But will Peter get to the hospital in time? As she gives birth, will all be okay with Lauren and the baby? 3. Ross Marshall makes a big confession to Vicky Fowler. Vicky and Ross are job hunting, but Ross is distracted by son Joel's obsession with his phone. Vicky tries to defuse the situation, but Ross rejects her help, making it clear he doesn't need parenting advice from her, and Vicky leaves. Couple later reconcile, before Ross reveals the truth to Vicky regarding their debt. He explains the real reason they had to leave Australia, and Vicky is so shocked that she leaves. Ross attempts to make amends, but Vicky is not in the forgiving mood. What is the big secret Ross tells her? 4. Gina Knight is suspicious of Harry Mitchell as Nicola Mitchell receives a threat. Vicky tries to convince Zack Hudson to keep out of the Mitchells' drama, but Zack ignores her advice and issues Nicola with a threat, which we can only assume is linked to his knowledge that he is the father of her son Barney. Meanwhile, Nicola's elder son, Harry, wakes up with a hangover at the Arches, and Billy Mitchell finds Harry and takes him to Wolford East. Things turn sour when Teddy arrives, and later, Billy attempts to reconcile with his nephew. Nicola accosts Gina as she searches for Harry, who arrives in a drunken state just as Gina is meeting Jay Brown for a drink. Jay tells Nicola and Teddy, who turn up to resolve the situation. Gina, however, is convinced there's more to what's going on with Harry. Gina's suspicions are raised further when she attempts to press Harry, who remains tight-lipped. What's wrong with Harry? And will Nicola heed Zack's warning? 5. The Queen Vic reopens as Nigel Bates gets confused over VE Day celebrations. Linda Carter and George Knight announce that the Vic will reopen for VE Day, but the news falls flat with most of the locals, including Mo and Zack, who can't face it so soon after Martin Fowler's death. Alfie Moon tries to buoy Linda, who grows concerned for mum Elaine Knight following the Square's reaction. As the 80th anniversary of VE Day arrives, Nigel is excited to celebrate the historic milestone, but it soon becomes apparent that Nigel believes it is 1995. Jean and Phil Mitchell prepare to talk to Nigel, but Jean bottles it and gets Phil to help organise a last-minute party. Jean persuades Mo to celebrate, but Linda remains firm that the Vic is closed. But when Linda spots the market traders abuzz with VE Day spirit, she changes her mind. As the Queen Vic reopens its doors, the residents of Wolford, including Nigel, gather to celebrate those previously fallen, including their very own Martin. EastEnders legend Ross Kemp's relative threatened to cut off Mum's head. The actor and presenter, best known for playing Grant Mitchell in the show, is in the cast of the new series of Who Do You Think You Are? The show sees famous faces learn about their family history, which can often spark some surprising moments. In the installment that centres on Ross, his venture into the past sees him learn about Albert Chambers. Albert lived in a pub in Portsmouth alongside his 10 siblings, one of which was Ross's great-grandfather Arthur. The actor discovers Albert spent years gathering court charges for being drunk and violent, with one listing an incident that saw him threaten to decapitate his own mother. Ross reads the story from a local paper. It was alleged he threatened to cut his mother's head off, and everyone else in the house, at the same time, chasing after her with a table knife. In a twist that certainly seems as dramatic as one in the soap world, the star also learns that Albert's behaviour saw him barred from every single pub in the land, after being put on the blacklist of the 1902 Licensing Act. Much-loved actor and documentary maker Ross returned to EastEnders at the start of this year for the show's 40th anniversary. Grant Mitchell came back to Walford in an attempt to help brother Phil, who was struggling with his mental health. The storyline saw Grant react in an outdated way to his siblings' problems. He was adamant at first that Phil was absolutely fine, and as the plot progressed, Grant found it incredibly difficult to talk to Phil while in a mental health unit. EastEnders Harry Mitchell to spark suspicion in devastating scenes. What has caused his turmoil? It's no secret that Harry turns to alcohol when he is struggling with his emotions, and this time is no different as the mechanic wakes up at the Arches with a nasty hungover. Soon afterwards, Billy discovers his nephew and escorts him to Walford East for some much-needed quality time. However, the one-to-one takes a turn when Teddy turns up at the door. "Harry is a mess," explains our Walford insider. "We've always known he's rough around the edges, but the fact he wakes up hungover in his own place of work says it all. His painful thoughts have clearly taken their toll on him, and he can't bear the sight of his dad when he walks in at Ravi's restaurant. It's yet to be seen what exactly goes down between the father and son, but we know that they're both fiery men who struggle to keep their tempers in check." Afterwards, Billy finds Harry at the cafe and attempts to put things right with his fragile relative. Will Harry respond well to his uncle's efforts, or will he fall into yet another self-destructive spiral? Later in the week, Nicola Mitchell sets out to find her eldest son and stops Gina Knight in her tracks. While out on the square, after the odd exchange, Gina meets up with Jay Brown for a drink, but their exchange is derailed when they spot Harry under the influence. "Alarm bells ring for Jay," says our source. He's no stranger to drunken behaviour, and he informs Nicola and Teddy that their son is in a bad way. Luckily, the two parents turn up in time to calm the situation down, but Gina gets the feeling that there's something fishy going on. Once everything has calmed down, Gina and Harry meet for a chat at the cafe. However, the bartender grows even more suspicious of Harry and his recent behaviour when he refuses to give her prying questions the time of day. As Gina closes in on her new flame, will Harry manage to keep her out of his family business, or will she entice him to reveal all about his inner demons? EastEnders' evil Cindy Beale stages chaotic return with huge consequences. The controversial E20 icon left Walford in disgrace during the BBC soap's 40th anniversary in February, following a huge showdown with ex-husband Ian Beale and his mother Kathy Beale. During the explosive week of episodes, fans saw Cindy uncover that it was her ex-mother-in-law who had attacked her and left her for dead after her affair with Junior Knight was exposed at Christmas. In her bid for revenge, Cindy shot Ian before pushing him in front of Reece Colwell's speeding car. This caused the twisted killer to swerve and crash into the Queen Vic, sparking an explosion that resulted in Martin Fowler's death. In the aftermath, Cindy eventually agreed not to shop Kathy to the police and told the rest of the Knight Beale clan that she was leaving to stay with her best friend Geeta, but it was clear she was biding her time for retribution. In recent weeks, Cindy's son Peter Beale learned she had gone AWOL from Geeta's, but his fiancée, Lauren Branning, is set to get an unwelcome surprise in forthcoming scenes when Cindy makes a reappearance at their engagement party. As the day of the event arrives, heavily pregnant Lauren is worried following her final midwife checkup. When potential complications are discussed, and fumes when distracted, Peter leaves to take a call. She tries to put things to the back of her mind as she and Peter later celebrate with family and friends at Harry's barn. But their happiness is short-lived when Cindy unexpectedly joins the party. Peter attempts to defuse the situation, but Lauren leaves and issues him an ultimatum. It's her or Cindy. Meanwhile, the rest of the Beales and Knights shun Cindy once again, but she retaliates by revealing all about Kathy attacking her. With her secret exposed, could Kathy be looking at a stretch behind bars? Cindy's tour of terror does not end there, though, as she soon heads to No, 29A, to face off with Lauren. However, Cindy is shocked when she arrives to find her rival in labor. Will she be able to put aside their differences to help safely deliver her grandchild? Cindy comes back wanting to make amends and wanting to get back with her family. But I think what she doesn't realize is that people have not forgotten, and they're not going to forgive her that easily. Star Michelle Collins explained, "It's going to take a long time, and Cindy gets a bit of a shock when she comes back from how people react to her. What Cindy has been through in her life has had a huge effect on her, and she reacts in very different ways to other people. She believes in fighting for her cause, and she will not back down." She added, "Even if somebody were to say to Cindy, 'I don't like you,' she would think she would be able to change their minds. She also has unconditional love for her kids. Granted, she may not be the perfect mum, but she is still their mum, and she has fought for her kids a lot over the years."
Các bạn vừa theo dõi một sản phẩm của EastEnders Spoiler TV. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại các bạn.